Hello Sagittarius, welcome to your reading. So my dear Sagittarius, this is a reading for, well, December/January. It's really kind of taking a end of the year message separately from the reading I will be doing for 2022. I think this reading is going to be very important for you to sort of understand and stop and contemplate for a second in terms of what energies do you want to leave behind, what energies you may still carry over to the next year, what lessons have you learned, what you should be proud of, but also how that's changed you, and what is the really advice in terms of, coming into a new year. And I feel like this is a really great time to do that before we just start projecting the new energies for the next year. So I hope you enjoyed and I hope you'll find it useful. And we will shuffle and add more cards if needed as we go along. So my dear Sagittarius, let's start with what we have on the table. And 10 of Swords, it's your main energy that you've experienced last year. And this is really important because, look, out of all the readings I've done so far, your energy is one of the hardest one because, even at the bottom of the card it says ruin. Something got ruined, something came to an end, and something really didn't end the way it should have ended. And you can even see here on the card that someone's heart is really broken, is pierced by the sword, whether that's your heart or someone else's heart. But there is this situation that you've experienced last year that was incredibly difficult. It just felt like one of the hardest endings that you've had to experience. And obviously with a lot of red and orange around, there's this, it's just a kind of indication that there was a lot of love and emotion and passion, and it's really tough. You may have dealt with Libra because there is a Libra scale over here, so Libra, or I'm seeing also potentially Leo, so Libra, Leo, and it doesn't really matter, but because if it wasn't really romantic situation, it could have been something really personal, right, that your heart got literally broken by. It could have been a career or work situation too. And as tough as it was, you've handled it, because when I'm seeing what you've learned and what you should be really proud of and how you've changed, you still manage to stand on your feet and keep going. Look at this beautiful card. This is in a position of what you should be proud of, and it's a change. And look at all this striking lights, and you have all this kind of winds and hurricanes and all of that, and it's just showing me that there was a lot of storm last year, a lot of emotional storm, and you still managed to take some things in your control and manage that energy, because you standing, actually in a way you are the storm, you see, because you are the one that is triggering all these changes in a way. Maybe that's actually what you really need to acknowledge, that whatever happened last year, as hard as it is, in some way I feel like you were pulling the strings. And it's interesting because sometimes we don't realize how much impact we have on ourselves and the environment and other people, and yet on this beautiful card here, you really were the one putting the cards on the table. You were you were in control. You were directing where the striking lights are going to hit, and the thunders, and those storms, and it's almost as most of it was still in your power. And I think that's something that you should be proud of, because maybe you have underestimated yourself until now and how much influence you have over others. Now, when I'm looking at the lesson that you've learned, it's the Moon card and the Crow with 24, which is a 6. It's interesting. It's that storm, so I see kind of emotions going up and down. There is a lot of roller coaster situations here, and one of the things that you needed to learn is to really keep calm and really keep your emotions at bay. That's one of the lessons that you had to learn last year, to keep calm, to really flow, like ebb and flow through these situations, to not let this overtake you, because the moon is, you know, sometimes signifies sort of really huge influence in terms of emotions and being really overwhelmed by this. And I feel like with the lesson learned here, hopefully most of you were really able to master it and understand that a lot of your actions and behaviors are triggered by these emotions. They're not really supposed to happen that way. And I think if you got to that place of being able to navigate, I mean, that's again just really, really well done. And you've also learned here with the crow, looking really into yourself, into your own shadow as well. So look at the crow, you know, she is looking into the water, and her spirit, it's really seeing its reflection, and it's, you know, it's kind of symbolism of darkness, and really seeing your darkest spots and being able to really embrace yourself from that perspective as well. Because, you know, we all have shadows and lights, we all have different sides to ourselves, and believe me, nobody is perfect. But there is this moment where we stop denying this part of ourselves, and there's a great liberation that comes from moment when we say to ourselves, you know, yeah, you know, it's me, I've done it, I'm not proud of it, I'm really sorry. And it's not even apologizing to others, it's really apologizing to yourself, but at the same time saying, well, okay, this is me, and maybe I do want to work on myself and I want to change it, but at least I have to see myself for the whole as I am, and embrace every single part of myself. And seeing that shadow in yourself, it's a great process of liberation to becoming a better person as well, because that means you see yourself in a whole picture. So that's really, really beautiful, because now with the Temperance card here, I feel like you've become way more balanced and way more patient, and most of all, some of you entering a really deep healing path from now on. It's like you've opened this door to a lot of opportunities right now to really understand who you really are and heal yourself, you know, from some of these shadows that you don't want to really live with anymore. Yes, you've embraced them, but you do want to heal them. So that's really amazing. And when I'm seeing here with the Princess of Cups, you know, you become a little bit more vulnerable. You're really trying to put yourself out there. You becoming more spontaneous. You want to be understood by people, and perhaps you want to be a little bit more heart-centered now as well, because maybe these experiences and these lessons, and even here, look how strong and harsh you are here. You were kind of like a bit, almost as emotions have left you, because maybe some situations, the way you handle them, they were, you know, you were quite harsh in them. And here, because you've learned your stuff, now you're becoming a bit softer, and that's how this thing is changing you. All these difficult situations, this emotional roller coaster, seeing yourself in all colors, starting to heal. You started to realize that maybe you want to live your life a bit more from the place of heart. So that is quite humbling, Sagittarius. It's really lovely, and I think that will open more doors for you next year in terms of really how you're going to navigate through, especially relationships and any sort of other situations that are quite emotional, going back to the Moon card. Now let's talk for a second about the situations of what was holding you back, and also what you've ignored. Well, you have ignored something clearly here, something that you've invested a lot of time in, and something that was really ready to eat the fruit from. You know, look at this tree. It's beautiful, it's strong, it's balanced, it's got all this ripe fruit to eat, right? All this beautiful abundance. There is this joy and happiness. There's a really good energy, really strong energy, but it's something that you've ignored. It's almost as, look at this all right in front of you and you still didn't eat the fruit from the tree. So let's have a look what that is, because it's something, again, to make sure that you don't do it next year, right? That's what we're doing in this reading. So let's put some cards. Okay, the Tower, the High Priestess, Four of Wands, Eight of Pentacles again, and the Chariot. So, I mean, look, obviously what happened here is that there was some difficult ending to a situation. Again, you might have lost something at your workplace or relationship, and I feel like you've ignored the signals and you didn't have enough patience. With the Four of Wands, there is something around happiness and milestone and home environment as well. Like you've ignored the stability, I think. You didn't have a patience for something. And again, Eight of Pentacles came through. It's like all the good stuff that it was in front of you wasn't something that you wanted to settle for. It's like you prefer to be on the move. Maybe that's why you triggered that Tower moment. This is the thunder that I'm seeing here. You see that thunder? It's coming through here in a Tower card. It's like you've triggered a situation and you've ignored that stability, abundance, security of the job, of home, of relationship, because you wanted to be on the move with the Chariot card. You wanted to feel like you're not chained, like you keep moving. Interesting, right? And when I'm looking at what's holding you back, let's see if there is any correlation here. The Lovers, Eight of Wands, Nine of Wands, the Sun, and the Queen of Swords. Okay, so holding you back. I feel like inability to make the right decisions, waiting too long, and I think like not communicating clearly, and just not having realistic expectations as well, because I feel like, here with the Nine of Wands and Eight of Wands, there is almost as something needed to be communicated and acknowledged, and then you've blocked that. It's like you didn't want, or maybe it's the other person. But overall, I feel like being involved in a situation that it's not clear, because we have a Queen of Swords and the Sun, which is clarity for me as well, right? Like crystal clear. Queen of Swords is amazing in terms of communication and knowing her stuff and knowing what she wants. And then there's the Sun, which is obviously opposite to the Moon. Everything is crystal clear. Everything is on the table. Now, Queen of Swords can represent, again, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. So it's almost as, lack of clarity around what you wanted really was holding you back. Because look at this Nine of Wands over here. It's kind of like you've blocked that. You really blocked that, Leo, which is, again, it could represent your desires, your wishes, what you wanted, and maybe because of that Queen of Swords and the Sun, you haven't really been clear. And with, you know, the Lovers, they represent as well choices between your heart and your mind. So on one hand, your mind was telling you something, that this is what you should do, and then your heart was telling you something else, and then you were ending up at this conflict with yourself. So I would say, if you're still in a place where you don't know what you want, and if you're being held back by all these different ideas, it's time to really learn that clarity from Queen of Swords and the Sun. Because when I'm looking at the advice for you, somehow you're still on the crossroads, Sagittarius. You have a Two of Swords, so you have still a choice to make. You still have to decide what you really want, where you want to be, what you want to do, who you want to do it with. And maybe going into the next year, I would say that this is one of the priorities you're going to be working with, is really deciding for yourself what is that you want. Because, you know, something has ended, you've gone through this emotional roller coaster, you've seen yourself in all colors, you've opened your heart, you're going through healing, you've rejected everything else that was in front of you. You know that the longer you couldn't make a choice, the harder life was becoming. So now you don't want to make the same mistake. And I don't think it is a mistake, it's just a lesson, right? Don't take this as a regret. But yeah, next year is supposed to be about moving forward. So this is a bit of a call for you to kind of do a bit of a check with yourself in terms of where you are, and have you decided on what you want. And then once you decided what you want, then the plan will be made. And then once you listen to the reading for 2022, hopefully that will make much more sense to you, and you will not be misinterpreting it based on, you know, 10 different scenarios that you may sort of want at this point. Okay, Sagittarius, so I hope that was useful and helpful in some way. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, there will be details in the description box below on how to reach me. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or simply comment below. And I hope to speak to you soon. 2022 reading, it's coming up soon. Lots of love for now. Bye.